you assigned methods to thread objects in Lesson 3.6. To achieve this, the thread class uses delegate methods. Delegate methods enable methods to be treated as objects. Using delegate methods can make your code very confusing, so they're best avoided unless absolutely necessary. Using delegate methods, you can create a class that uses methods from any other class. This can make it incredibly difficult to discover the actual source of a method's logic. In practical terms, there are very few cases where a delegate is a good idea. One of the only places where delegates are required is when working with multiple threads, as you did in Lesson 3.4. In this lesson, you'll create a delegate method using the delegate keyword. To begin, open the Mathland project from your sample files folder. And view multicalc.aspx in your web browser. This page enables you to create a batch of pending calculations by adding them to a list. Add some calculations to the list by clicking the Add Calculation button. When this page is finished, you'll be able to carry out all of the calculations by clicking the Calculate button. Close your web browser now and open multicalculator.cs. When the Calculate method is clicked, the Calculate method runs each calculation. It does this by using a list collection of calculation objects, each of which has a symbol and a value property. If you examine the rest of the code, you'll see that there are add, subtract, multiply, and divide methods. You can see the spaces where the methods should be called, but instead of using ordinary method calls here, you're going to use a delegate. First, you'll need to create a delegate. To do this, add the following code outside any event handlers. Public delegate double calculation delegate double first number double second number. This code defines a new delegate called calculation delegate. Note that the delegate itself doesn't contain any code. Delegates simply define a template rather than containing any logic themselves. Because this delegate has exactly the same arguments and return value as the add, subtract, multiply, and divide methods, it will be able to act as a delegate for any of these methods. Delegates must always have the same arguments and return values as the methods that they substitute for. Next, you're going to create and use an instance of your delegate. Add the following code on the first line of the for each loop in the calculate method. Calculation delegate calculator delegate. A delegate object is created just like any other C# object. Now add the following code inside the first if statement. Calculator delegate equals add. This assigns the add method to the calculator delegate object. The calculator delegate object now contains the add method and can call it on demand. Now add the following code to the next if statement. Calculate a delegate equals subtract, and in the next if statement, calculate a delegate equals multiply, and in the last if statement, calculate a delegate equals divide. Your calculation delegate object has now been assigned the correct method depending on the kind of calculation that it needs to run. All that remains is to call the method. Add the following code at the end of the for each loop. Result equals calculate a delegate, result, calculation, dot value. This code calls your delegate method. This will work regardless of which method the calculator delegate object is actually calling. Test your code now by viewing multicalc.aspx in your web browser. When the page loads, add some calculations to the list, and click Calculate. The calculations are carried out successfully through your delegate method. Close your web browser now, and close Visual Studio. You've now completed Lesson 4.10. Understand delegate methods.